Welcome back to another episode of The Unbroken. I'm your host, Sam Davis. It's always good to be in front of you all. And my guest this week is a returning guest, fan favorite, Chane from St. Augustine, Florida. He's the founder and owner of Augustine Recovery, which is a men's-only treatment program in St. Augustine, sitting on about 9.5 acres. They hold 24 people. They are 12-step completion. They have great clinical. They have family work. They incorporate the families, and they focus on unraveling and unpacking and healing men's trauma. And they are the sponsor of this week's episode. And I'm always glad to have Jason. Man, it's good to have you here.
Good to be back.
Good to be back, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's long overdue, I think.
Yeah.
People love it when you're on. You got so much good stuff
I love to be
say.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this episode. And if you're heading to combat, and you know you're heading to combat, do you want to be trained by someone who's been to combat, or do you want to be trained by someone who's just read it out of a book? And I'm not going to get political here. I stay away from politics on this show, and I know that you do the same. And it's not going to be about politics. But we've got a guy that's the head of the Department of Health and Human Services that has 43 years sober. And he is the only one in my long or short 52 years on this planet that has been at that head that has had the lived experience.
Right.
They've put out this recovery initiative, right? They're going to drop $100 million in the 8 cities. Still a little vague, don't have the details, but I'm excited because we got a guy that's got a lived experience that for the first time that I'm aware of is talking about this illness is not just medical, it's spiritual in nature. And that gives me a lot of hope that maybe someone's leading this ship that has, the experience and the knowledge and the understanding about what it's going to take to get this country back on track outside of addiction. Now, it's not required that someone have the lived experience of addiction in order to work in the field of addiction and be successful at it and be effective. But I think that it adds an extreme amount of value to have that lived experience, much like I was talking about. If you're going to be trained to go to combat, you want to be trained by someone who's been to combat. I do anyway.
Right.
You know. So how are you feeling about this?
When you work in this field and you do it for, this is your life's work, you realize that a lot of the government aid in this has always kind of seemed like it's good for the cameras. It's good to make it sound like we're trying to make a dent in this and we're really putting something towards it. But I think an actual practical application of it, I don't know that I've ever seen any of it make a dent or change anything. So that's just my personal experience. I don't have the above like a 500-mile view from ahead of it or above it. So I don't know that I'm seeing all of it. But I know personally, I've never seen it change anything in the people that I'm working with or anything like that. So I think there are programs that do try, but I think a lot of times it's well-meaning individuals that are doing their best for that. But if you can write a grant, if you can earmark that money and does it get wasted? Does it get used for purposeful things? I don't know.
I hate for them to just focus on opiates.
Right.
And then that's what they had done in the past, and that's where all these Suboxone and all the MAT. Which, look, man, I mean, you and I aren't political people. I mean, we don't, even when we're outside of the studio and we're just running around and hanging out or talking or whatever, we don't get into politics too much.
Right.
I mean, I don't watch the news consistently and I'm not all wrapped up in that. But it would just seem to me that a lot of that in the past of the money earmarked and all of the pharmaceuticals is probably because of a lot of heavy lobbying.
For
from
sure,
the
100%.
Companies.
There's no way around that. I don't think you'd have to be hiding under a rock to not see that for what it is at this point in time.
Yeah. And look, the old mainstay, alcohol.
Right.
Alcohol is killing more people than anything out here.
Right.
Anything.
Right. And to me, like, I don't believe the problem's getting better because at the heart of addiction, I believe it is a spiritual emptiness. And I'm not trying to get religious. I just mean there is something missing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like if you struggle with chemicals, it's almost like you were born with the emptiness that you needed an answer to, and that provides the answer. But when you take that away, something's missing. So I don't think that the world, on the course we're on right now, is getting more spiritually healthy.
No. And people take that word when they talk about it's a spiritual problem. First thing, a lot of people are taken aback by that term, spiritual sickness or spirituality, and they attach it to religion or a certain type of religion. But it's a fact, and a lot of people have wanted to ignore that and shy away from that, and the problem still persists.
Right.
I'm just excited to hear the government or someone at that level, and I don't care what you think about him. I don't care. I don't know about his other policies. I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to him.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, I'm invested in this.
Right.
And it gets me a little excited. Now, I'm cautious because, I mean, look, the government, if they mess up a gas can, which they certainly did, you can get a gas can now and you can't hardly pull gas out of it for all the safety measures the government has forced people to do. And if they can mess that up.
It'll spill in the back of your car, though.
Yeah, it'll blow up in the back of your car. You know, but if they can mess that up, certainly they can make a mess of this. So I have, what is it, skeptical optimism.
Yeah.
Right. And but I am excited because he's talking about the spiritual aspect of that, which a lot of people shy away from. I've never really heard it spoken about like that. And look, again, I don't care what you think about the guy or what anyone thinks about the guy. This guy was shooting dope 43 years ago. He lived that life, and that's a tough life to live. That's a hard run.
Right.
And he came out of that 43 years ago. Right. And now he's
maintained his sobriety.
Sobriety, and he is the secretary of health.
Yeah. Health and Human Services.
And Human Services. I mean, say what you want. I mean, in this, talking about spiritual sickness, and there's a spiritual component to recovery and this illness, gives me some hope. Right. And man, it has been crickets out here. I mean, for years, dude, people have marched on Washington, voices of recovery, you know, waving the banners and holding the posters and amen. Thank God for that. Thank God that people are making the trips and they're doing these rallies and whatnot through the years. Well, by God, we finally got the government to say, boom, we're going to do something about it. You have our attention. And it's been crickets, which I get some of that. I don't want to get into the politics of it.
Well, you don't want to be canceled. You don't want to be outwardly grateful or saying this is the right move if you don't necessarily agree with politics. So I think in today's day and age, we are completely stifled and paralyzed and terrified to say anything positive about anything that may not align with the way that we appear and are perceived by others. And I think that is a really tough, we're in a really tough time in our history because of that. Because being authentic comes with a whole host of arrows. And the cancel culture that we live in is so powerful. And we are so, I think at this day and age, we're basically living our lives on phones and that perceived image and how we are seen. And you can just be dropped. I was thinking about it like a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking about how drug addicts and alcoholics, like, we know what it's like to be canceled. We've been canceled. I mean, there was a point in my life where I got kicked out of crack houses. I know what it's like to be a pariah. I know what it's like to lose the family support. I know what it's like to lose the friend support. I know what it's like to be like a vagabond, just walking the earth with nobody to connect to. No bank accounts, no money, no house, no nothing. And what that is. And that is basically that loneliness and that separateness and that emptiness, that disregard and that being thrown away. I think us addicts really understand what that's like. We don't want that again.
Right.
It's really tough. I think the normal person who's just on their phone and they're seeing all this, like they get even a bit of that cancel, that being left out, that loneliness. I think we're all starting to understand what that is. I think
the judgment.
Absolutely. And I think in this now, I think I'm seeing that alcohol use is down in the United States. Kids are on their phones.
Yeah.
So what's the more powerful drug? What's the most powerful drug on earth right now? Like, I think we're really getting into the point where we're going to start to see this. Like, the phones are the most powerful drug on earth right now.
We're all addicted.
Right. Everyone's
We're
addicted.
all addicted.
And everyone is going to understand what it's like to be truly lonely as a result of that. Everyone's going to get to that, what we call the jumping off place in the big book. Everyone's going to get to that point of like, I can't put my phone down and I want to put it down and I put it down, but I pick it back up and I tell myself I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get on social media. I'm not going to do this. Everyone is experiencing what it's like to be powerless right now.
Yeah.
Across the board, worldwide. If you have access to social media, if you have access to this, it is a game changer in the world. And it's something I'm extremely passionate about. It's just what I've seen. It's how it's like I'm watching a world unfold that I don't really, it's like reading a book that you want to put down.
Right.
That you're like, wow, I don't like the way this chapter ended. And I don't like the new chapter that's beginning. Like I feel something is amiss. And when we talk about like this separateness, this spiritual emptiness, like I really believe we're going to get into touch with that. We all are as a world as a result of it, because we're all going into our own worlds. Like the kids don't want to be drinking because like they might go to happy hour or they might, hang out. But really all anybody wants to do is go home and have like 2 or 3 hours on their phone before they go to bed. They want that time for them.
Yeah.
And that is not time with anybody else. That is a escape. It's a veg out. It's however you want to say it. But everybody that's probably going to watch this podcast can know exactly what I'm talking about because everybody's doing it.
Dude,
it's so strong.
Yes.
And the scrolling and the complete power and utter powerlessness over it. It wasn't made to be non-addictive. It wasn't made that way, and it's continuing not to be that way. They have done all kinds of things to change it. I mean, I heard this guy Tristan Harris. The Social Dilemma. He did several different things, and he's really trying to put safeguards in place and has over the years. But one thing he said really resonated with me. He said that technology evolves at a much faster rate than our physiology does. So we're human, our bodies have evolved over the course of time, and this technology that we've introduced into our lives can morph, it can change, it can upload. It's fast. What we had today, we don't understand a year from now. Our physiology, our brain, the dopamine, the hormones, everything else that we're dealing with does not have the ability to scale at the same rate. We're trapped. Basically, to think that we're not addicted to this or that we really have a chance, like it's when we say we're powerless, I think people are going to actually understand what that means. Like, I want to stop, but I can't put it down. I can put it down, but I always start again. I can't leave it alone.
Right.
I can leave it alone for a day. I can leave it alone for a week. I'll do a digital detox. You hear all these things, and yes, we do all that kind of stuff at the center where at Augustine, they don't have phones for 90 days.
And when do they get in trouble?
The moment they get their phones back. The porn starts, the social media, the exes, everything else, we have to navigate and therapeutically work through those things once we introduce them back, because it's like you're climbing and it knocks you down. You don't go back to where you started, but you're going to have to live in a world where this interaction, which may or may not even be real at the end of the day, is how we're determined and how we see the world and how the world sees us. And we portray an image. Like, the inauthenticity in this is, I think, probably the biggest problem with it, is because it's what we portray. It's not really who we are. We're scared to be who we are, because if we portray who we really are, we'll be pariahs. Because the time for understanding or giving somebody a second chance, it's like it's over, and we're on to the next influencer. We're on to the next star. We're on to the next, there's not a lot of redemption pieces going on right now. Like, everybody thinks they like it, but, and when I hear about like a Robert F. Kennedy Jr., like, I know there's some people that absolutely love him, and I know there's some people that absolutely can't stand him. And even though he may be doing something that, like there may be a mom who's lost a son to fentanyl, but doesn't want to shout from the rooftops that RFK's giving money to it, even though it would be something that you would think they might be back behind, but because they can't stand his politics or they can't stand, who he runs with or whatever it is. Like, I get that. Sometimes, the messenger kills the message, and it's sad. And I don't know how much actual progress we make in the world when we're so scared to tell the truth. Our truth. That's the thing. Like, people's truth is about the trauma that they've been through themselves. Like, your truth is different than mine because you grew up in Virginia. That's what I was asking you today. You know so much about the Civil War, and it's not because you're racist. It's because you grew up right at where battles were right in front of your house, like 100 years before you were there. But this living history is right here with you. Your family, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, y'all have history in this area. So
some of our traumas are from that.
Exactly.
My generational trauma in my family
absolutely
began at Pickett's Charge in 1863.
Right.
My ancestor walked out onto the field and was never seen or heard from again. That he left a family back home that never knew what the hell happened. Well, they knew he got killed at Pickett's Charge, but
that's in your DNA,
he was here one
though.
day and he was gone. Yeah,
that's in your DNA.
Yeah.
Like, we know enough now to know that this stuff gets passed down. This is real intelligence, not artificial intelligence. This is actual intelligence passed on through our humanity. We understand, like, we know not to eat this berry inherently because 10,000 years ago our ancestors ate them and died, and we store that away.
Yeah.
You don't eat those berries. That don't look good. Don't do that. Like, we learn through this, and we think we pass this down. And so when people disagree about the way the government is or whether you should do this or should do that, it's based on the trauma that they've endured in their life. It's the way their parents raised them or didn't raise them. It's the things that are born into us, that are taught to us, and they're the things that rip us apart. Like, if alcoholism ripped your family apart, you're going to hate it. If your dad beat the heck out of you growing up, like, you're going to have a certain way of looking at the world. You may not trust authority. You may not, like, it patterns how we vote. It patterns what we think is right. And so when somebody has an opposite viewpoint of me, I have to have compassion of the fact that, like, I have never walked in your shoes. And if you tell me your story, the whole damn story explains itself. And I start to see, I'm like, wow, I thought they were this way, but really now that I know what all they've been through and that's what treatment is about. Treatment is about unraveling the story. Then you understand where they're coming from, and then the behaviors have basically been explained. And then from that point, we have to turn it from, yes, you've been through a lot, and I honor the fact that this earth school that you've been through has been a tough upbringing. But we have to turn this somehow into power. We have to turn it into gold. We have to transmute all this pain and all these things you've been through and find a way to have it be useful to other people. And that's where all the change happens. So it's a blessing to me that I struggled with chemicals the way that I did, because I was born on this earth missing something that I needed a connection that I was never going to get through the standard operating procedures of earth. I wasn't. I had to have a self-imposed crisis through methamphetamines and cocaine that pushed me out to the outer limits of the earth, made me beg for help because the loneliness was destroying me. And then through that, I got a new life. Somebody today is going to experience that on a phone.
Yeah.
That is where we're going. Like, there's no doubt about it. I have friends that use artificial intelligence as if it's God. What should I do about this? What should I do about that? Like,
it'll tell you some wrong stuff.
It'll tell you whatever it will tell you whatever you want to hear.
I've put some really cringeworthy posts up that I've gotten from AI on like LinkedIn and stuff, with some, it's just, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to be careful.
Well, the truth of it is it is also algorithmically attached to you, and it knows what you want to see and what you want to hear and what's going to get you to continue to interact with it.
Yeah.
Its job is to continue to interact with you. So, and it's smarter than you, and it's made in a way when I'm saying it's smarter than you, it's evolutionarily smarter than you. The reality of it is it moves so fast and we move so slow that there's no actual way that we can, on the course that we're on, it's really tough for me to imagine where it doesn't get out of hand. It's scary, but I see the only reason we're doing that is because we separated what it's like to really interact with other people.
Yeah.
We're scared of talking to other people in real life.
It's getting worse.
It's absolutely getting worse.
And they're talking about in the original treatment manual, in the big book, they say that jumping off place where we can't see living with alcohol and we can't see living without it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole lot of people that are going to be at that jumping off place with technology.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yep.
You can't see living with it, but I can't see living without it. I'd love to be able to live without it. I'd love to be able to just put this phone down. I miss the days of where I'd, get in my vehicle and I'd be gone all day and you couldn't get in touch with me.
Right.
Like the large part of the population is going to experience what you and I have experienced. That
and technology has allowed us to have a podcast. Like no one
don't want people to watch it. Don't put your phone down yet.
Yeah, but I mean, would we be on television? Probably not.
No.
There's a select few people that had a show that, it was very limited.
Mm-hmm.
This is, it hasn't equaled the playing field because you still either have money behind it or you don't, and you have to build it up grassroots, but it has allowed for people to really get out there. At the same time, it's a curse.
Yeah.
It's going to take your time. It's going to consume your energy. There's a trade-off. There is a trade-off for everything in the world. Like anything that right now seems positive, there's going to be there's a price to pay for it.
Yeah.
You take from somewhere else to give to this. There's no free lunches. There's nothing that comes free, and you don't get away with anything.
Right.
Like there's always going to be a trade. If I'm going to spend more time doing this, then it's going to take away from something else. You have to really define what is important to you, and I think that's really hard to do too because we're so distracted and scattered. It's like, if you want to start a business, you could get online and you could, get on social media and you could think, oh, there's all these side hustles. Well, there's a side hustle for a side hustle for a side hustle. And you know what you do? You end up doing nothing because you can't decide. There's too many options. We as a species don't do well with options. If we have too many options, it's like we do good at survival. Like if it's our back against the wall and I got to eat to survive, like we inherently are tough, and we know how to do that. That's like bred into our DNA.
We do great at surviving.
Mm-hmm.
We suck at living.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
For sure.
But that's a fact, though.
Yeah.
Suck at living, do great at just surviving.
Because you think about, you probably look at, if you were to really judge happiness or simplicity or joy in people's lives, it's probably some of the harder working, poorer countries in the world that are happier than the countries that have made it, like the first world, where we have all these options, but we suffer all of them.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what to do with ourselves, because we don't know what we're supposed to do for work. If you're going to go work in the cotton field at 14, that's your job. My grandfather did that. I did it some. It's just what you did. There wasn't a whole lot of options out there. Now, I don't know what I want to be. I want to be an influencer. Well, of course you do. Where's all the energy? If I was a child right now, I got an 8-year-old, almost 9, and a 6-year-old daughter. What do they think the most important thing in the world is? The thing that I hold in my hand that takes all my attention. Why would they not think? Why would I not want to pour my energy into that? It's like, if you watched The Lone Ranger when you were a kid and wanted to be a cowboy or wanted to be on TV, it's because that's what everybody wanted. I want to be a professional football player. Why? Because everybody's into it. Why would I not want to be following what that is? And I think, and it's not realistic. It's already been done. A lot of times I'll talk to my daughter about it. She's like, maybe want to be an influencer. And it's like, well, you're doing what you've seen someone else do. It's already been done.
Yeah.
Like, there might need to be more creativity or a new idea that would come about that might interest people. Some of this is just people copying what other people are doing, and some people do it better than others. But the real ingenuity, and we were talking about that on the way in. You were talking about Sir Isaac Newton and how, like, and I've read books about this. Carl Jung, like when he wanted to write a book or write his papers, Carl Jung, he had a cabin in the woods, and he'd go there for 6 months to a year, and people would bring him food, but he had no interaction with them. They'd just drop the food off, and he had nothing. You know, this was before phones. This was before any interaction whatsoever, because the focus and the clarity and the downloads that he needed to receive.
Yeah. And I think
couldn't have oh, you got an email. Oh, you got a text message. Oh, you got your focus and your ability to stay on task right now is impossible.
That's why I think like we're headed for some real trouble. I mean, because we do have so many options and so many distractions. Like I was talking about Sir Isaac Newton or Isaac Newton, whatever his name was, is that his dad bailed on him before he was even born. Mom left him when he was 3 and left him with somebody, and she reappeared when he was 11 with a new family, and he was just despised his stepdad. And if he'd have had phone, if he'd have had video games, if he'd have had all the distractions, would he have really put his energy into learning what he needed to learn and his curiosity to fill that curiosity or feed that curiosity with gravity and forces and all the stuff that Isaac did?
He funneled his trauma. He funneled his trauma into ingenuity and creativity.
Yeah,
and I think there is a way that kids still do that. I just feel like there's a cap on it because they're going into a loop that's already been created to catch them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to go beyond that. It's like they go into social media, they go into some of these pieces, and yes, they may. I just feel like the sky, it's not necessarily the sky's the limit in the same way. There's less room for expansion and more room for being trapped. Like, there's less room for creativity, much more room for consumption.
Yeah.
Like, we are a consumptive species at this point. We're not really creating much anymore. We're having it created for us. And then they tell us that we're going to create this utopia. And it's like, we're not happy now. You think we're really going to be happy doing less than we are right now? Like that's the thing that, like, inherently this has been buzzing through my brain since artificial intelligence since people start really pushing this. This is the thing that I keep coming back to. I'm like, okay, less jobs, less purpose, less connection, more dependence on technology. How, if the results are in on how happy we are now compared to how happy we were 50 years ago, how happy we were 100 years ago, there might have been more infant mortality 100 years ago. There might have been more, like hard labor. There might have been more, but I don't know that people were any less happy. They damn sure were skinnier. They weren't fighting the excess because there wasn't excess. Yeah. They were living and building. And now we built something that's, it wants to take care of us.
Yeah.
And I think when I think about like the inherent power and gifts that humans have, I just think we have to be working and striving towards something that gets us motivated and out of bed in the morning. Like, there has to be kind of a North Star. There's
a spiritual emptiness with most of us.
Right.
With a large part of the population, there's a spiritual emptiness. Mm-hmm. I want to back up a little bit. You had said that, Isaac Newton took his trauma, put it into learning, put it into experiments and curiosity. He didn't have the distractions. Well, we're a heavily traumatized world. Mm-hmm. And when you look at, from the beginning of time, when the universe was created, if it was on, let's condense it down to a year, a calendar year. Mm-hmm. From the time that the universe was created was January 1st, right, 1201, to where we are sitting in this chair today is December 31st of that same year.
Right.
In that 1 year, I think it was the last 60 seconds of this year was when humans were
here.
We're here.
Yeah.
And then in the last 4 seconds was like all of our modern knowledge. So like we were talking, a lot of people may think this is ridiculous that my family trauma started in the Civil War because they look at it as like that was so long ago.
Well, it started before that, but yeah, that's a big chapter.
Yeah, right. But But they're like, well, that was so damn long ago. How does he know that? Man, that was like a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so our black, white, gray, whatever, like we're a heavily traumatized world.
Mm-hmm.
And that has gone, and we're looking to distract ourselves from the noise
Right.
that's in here. So sometimes it manifests into, they're workaholics. That's
Mm-hmm.
been through history.
Mm-hmm.
Alcoholics,
Mm-hmm.
relationships, sex, gambling, porn, exercise, body image, getting their face reworked every couple of months, got enough plastic and rubber in their face to make a mud tire.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with getting a little work done, man.
That's 100% social media too.
Yeah,
100%. Like the growth of that industry is 100% comparison to each other.
So
and it's sad.
so we're all struggling.
Right.
We just don't realize it. A lot of us don't realize it. And a lot of those people that are struggling, whose trauma and whose belief systems have carried them and manifested in different ways, are looking and pointing fingers at addicted individuals saying, what a bum.
Yeah.
I saw a social media comment that says, the best way to deal with an addicted individual is to take away Narcan. Problem solved.
Okay, yeah.
And that individual is struggling with his own stuff.
Right.
And sitting there casting judgment. So we're sitting here, a heavily traumatized world with distractions being created every day to distract us from being able to take care of this.
Right.
So we're just getting worse.
Right.
We're just getting worse.
And instead of really communicating with each other, I think it's one of the greatest gifts of like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is the unity and the actual person-to-person contact that alcoholics and addicts get to have.
Yeah.
Because we actually have live meetings. We get to be around other people. There's a lot of people that are lonely and suffering that have no outlet. There's no, phone addicts anonymous. And people are just separate. And so we're not getting that thing that we need, and we can't work through things if we're not in person with each other. We just get further and further separated. And I feel like that's really how we, like that, the job of social media and all this is to advertise and for you to get your attention to sell to you eventually.
That's what we're
doing.
doing.
So what do I need to do? I need to isolate you. I need to segment you into a population where I can really target what you want to buy, what you're interested in. And in doing so, I separate you from other things and other people. And it's great for companies that want to capitalize from that, but the end result is your humanity and your connectivity and all those kind of things get taken away, and you're basically like a readable code that we know everything you like, everything you don't. We know how long you stay on the app. We know how long, we know what thing is going to hook you when you want to get off. Like, you're against a power that's beyond your control. Just to get back to it. And on a level that really, I don't know if I'd be as passionate about this if I didn't have children. Hopefully I would. Hopefully I'd see it as it is, but I really like when I watch the interaction and what it's like to take an iPad away from a child and watch the withdrawals happen. Watch the actual physical withdrawals happen. The fit, the physical nature. It's like when somebody goes into detox for heroin or alcohol, screaming, crying, throwing stuff. And granted, they're children, but that's a much more natural response. That's a real response because they're not hiding it. They're not pretending it doesn't matter to them. Like when guys come in and they have to give their phones up, like there is a legitimate, like they think maybe I should run right now.
Yeah.
And it's just as powerful for giving that phone. They already know they're coming to treatment to get off chemicals. They've already made that piece, but it's like the phone too, and they're like, oh.
I did this last year. I went to Bridge to Recovery, and there was no distractions. You had to turn in your phone.
And think about what was the power of what happened to you there.
Of while I was going through it, the power of the zero distractions is this got louder.
Yeah.
Internally, this got louder. I was able to hear what my soul was really speaking to me.
Yeah.
What my soul was really trying to get me to pay attention to, that needed attention.
Yep.
There's a little boy inside of me that was screaming, but not as loud as it used to, but it was still yelling and it was still tapping. It was still poking me. Say, hey, there's some work here to do. And I would always distract it with work, with the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable here.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable creating content.
Yep.
I'm comfortable editing content. And I will know it today that when I, if there's things that I need to address that are uncomfortable to me, I can escape into my phone and do some editing because I'm comfortable there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, I can justify it by saying that I need to do it because I need to put up so many pieces of content a day. But really down in there, what's going on? I'm distracting myself from something that is uncomfortable to me.
Yep. And without...
and we're all doing it.
Yes.
We're all doing it.
I have less... My meditation, like every piece of like the guidance that I've always gone within for guidance, whatever this power is that I try to connect to, that's been an important part of my life, but it is harder to hear that voice. It is harder to hear that voice now more than ever. Like there's times where I felt completely guided by whatever the spirit of the universe was. Like I was just a tool or an instrument in the hand. Like there just seemed to be like, go do this, go do that. Like just clear feeling of connection.
Yeah.
Now it is harder because there are the world that's being pushed on me, the world that I'm bringing into my life, the incessant chatter, the differing opinions, the fights, and where do you want to get on that? Like we really relish an enemy. Like I think a lot of our like natural instincts are played against us. We really, we need something to fight against in order to feel self-righteousness is a big drug too within our chemistry. It's a feeling of power. It's a feeling of I'm right and I'll fight till the death for this. Those are really intense feelings that are used against us through these medias, through this, like you can get played kind of like a puppet.
Yeah.
And even being aware of it, it's still easy to fall into it. Why? Because I don't have the power. I don't. It's beyond my power. And if I can admit that, like truly admit that, because in the same way I had to learn with drugs too, like, because when you're a drug addict or an alcoholic, they ask you to admit you're 100% powerless, for those of you who don't struggle with this. And it's really hard to admit you're 100% powerless. You may say, well, I know better, so that's like 95% powerless, but I knew better. I should have, and we beat ourselves up for this because we know better. Knowing better doesn't do shit to stop it. It doesn't. This is beyond our mental and bodily control. And until I can truly admit that on my own, I am not going to be able to defeat this. This is a foe that's beyond my abilities, and I have to have the help of something greater than me. And when that finally comes, things change. And I think that day's coming eventually for this, if we can really separate it. And I think the loneliness that we're all feeling, like that's what drove me into getting sober. That and maybe going to prison.
Yeah.
A lot of my stuff got me in a lot of trouble. But I can tell you that, like, I can still remember my dad took me to my little brother's football game. I'd come home like one time where I had been on a long run, and then I went back to my parents' house after 6 months of them not knowing where I was. And, they would just try to include me in stuff like, let's go watch your little brother play a baseball game. And on the way home, my dad just looked over and he said, Jason, what is wrong with you, son? What is wrong with you? And I don't know what I was exhibiting, but I just said, I don't know, Dad. I'm just fucking lonely. And he was like, you ain't lonely, son. I was in Vietnam by myself when I was 18 years old. That's what lonely is. And I was like, I didn't fight with him in the moment, but I'll be damned if I don't know what lonely is. Like, I know what that is. I've been lonely since the day I was born. And
you were missing a piece of the puzzle.
Missing a piece. And I believe now it's better to be where you're missing a piece than to find out later. Because I got to get sober at 31, and I got to live I can't say it's an awakened life, but it's definitely, I'm more alive now than I was then. I was going through motions, feeling connected to nothing, not knowing my purpose or direction in life.
Lost.
Completely lost. And the only thing that made me feel anything was a chemical. You know, whether it be sex, you could have sex, you have a new job, a new car, all those things make chemicals happen, but they don't last, right? So today, I feel like it's so subtle, this loneliness that's creeping into every person, and you're so trapped on it that you don't realize, like, you've been consumed by something. It's dictating what you think. It's dictating how you act. It's dictating how much time you spend with your children. It's dictating what you do for a living. Is it not a drug? That's what drugs did to me. Drugs told me where I went, how long I stayed, what I didn't go to, what funerals I missed, Christmas I didn't come home, you name it, due to drugs and alcohol. What is a phone doing? You have to fight to go do anything.
Yeah.
You have to fight to put it down to go do, oh, I got to pick up my kid from school.
Yeah. Walk out of the house, leave your phone on the counter.
Yeah.
Go run some errands uptown. And how many times are you going to try and grab your phone with the phone at the house?
Yeah, right. I mean, it is.
You feel like you're riding down the road with no shoes on. You feel like something's obviously missing here, my phone.
Yeah, and I think it takes somebody a long time to really realize that is what that's the impetus for the loneliness, is the fact that this thing that connects me also separates me, and I don't know how to leave it alone. And I don't have the answers to this. Like, as I sit here and bitch about it, I don't have the answers to it, because it is, like you said, like, can't live with it, can't live without it. We are a culture that it's indoctrinated into the way that we do things. I've heard, leading AI experts say, we'll do this until it doesn't work, then we'll have to pull the plug. Pulling the plug means pulling electricity on everything. That's our answer. If these things, if this blows up on us, turn off electricity.
Right.
And start over, or else it could exterminate everything. Like, and I'm not trying to be alarmist here. It's just that is a possible outcome, as opposed to thousands of possible outcomes or millions of possible outcomes. But it is a possible outcome, right? It's the only thing we can do is pull the major plug to shut it down. Now, we would at that point be forced into our survival, into our making things work, into the ingenuity of starting over, and I would imagine that we would make it. It would probably be ugly, and it would probably be very hard, because most of us don't have those skills anymore. We'd have to go way back into the DNA strands to remember how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is there. And is that the way that I want it to go? No, I'd love for this to be able to move responsibly. But I will say that, like, in my heart, if it's following a path of money, it's tough to put the brakes on it. The watchdogs and the people that are, watching out for us, they're on the take too, for the most part.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Like, you see it for what it is, and you do the best. I just do the best to raise my children as free of that as I can, without having them lose out on everything, and without being a pariah in their current situation, because they use things at school. But there are, like, I think a lot of times people just feel overwhelmed, and they can't do anything about it, and they think it's just a foregone conclusion, and so they'll just throw your hands up, because you can't do anything to stop it.
Well, this is what I've seen.
Yeah.
Look, families disable their addicted loved one because they're looking for a little bit of relief. Every time they pay a bill, every time they pay their rent, every time they give them a little money or let them stay or what have you, whatever they do, it gives them, the family, a little bit of relief.
Yep.
It's just temporary.
Yep.
And they're doing it in their soul. It's not going to work. But they get a little breathing room for half an hour or a day or 2 days. I've seen it firsthand with little kids and the phone.
Yeah.
When they take it, I've seen that withdrawal.
Yeah.
I've seen they show up. And so, and then they'll give it back because they're looking for that little bit of relief. God, this kid will shut up if I give them this. I know all I got to do is give them this phone, and they'll be quiet.
Yeah.
That's all they got to do. And I need 30 minutes a
piece.
piece.
You can't. So a lot of people can't afford a $30 an hour babysitter, so an iPad will do just as good a job.
Do a damn good job, Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of parallels with how I see families treating their addicted loved ones with just how I see parents out here with the kids and the phone.
And that plays itself out over time. And you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's every little concession you make now, you let out more string, it's impossible to pull the string back in. It's a lot harder to pull it back in than it is to let it out. And there's only one way to go with that. It only goes towards more autonomy, more freedom with it, which means more dependence.
Yeah.
And I really believe in my heart that when we all boil this down to it, it's like convenience killing us.
Yeah.
Convenience is killing us. There's no way to even explain it that's not it. Everything that's fast now, we pay for later.
Yeah.
And the longer it takes to come back, the harder the ass whooping.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it is. Like, there is no, like I said earlier, there's nothing that we get that doesn't have a trade. We trade. There's nothing free. Like, that's the way the universe works. I think Newton explained it that way.
Yeah.
Opposite and opposite reactions.
Yeah.
Like, there are things that are at play here that as we do things, like, you can't expect to give your children all this freedom, autonomy, and not have some dependence happen as a result of it. And who are they bonding with? They're not bonding with you. That's the tough thing, is they're bonding with something that can't bond. They're bonding with something that's attempting to figure them out to sell them something. So what is something that wants to sell you something going to tell you? It's going to tell you what you want to hear. It's going to tell you that you're great. It's going to inflate you, and it's not going to give you reality. A real person can do that. A real person can say no. A real person can argue with your point. A real person's not going to let you just blindly go into something thinking that you're right about everything. But what would something that wanted you to be on their side do? 100% of the time.
Tell you what you want to hear.
Tell you what you want to hear. And that's who we are bonding with. We are bonding with something that is attempting to tell us that we're right. Go on and believe what you believe. Go on and you got every reason to believe that, girl. You go do that. You got every reason to believe that. This is where, and what happens whenever you start to go down a path, everything you get sent to you starts to support that path as being the correct one. Why? Not because it's the universal truth of everything. It might be your universal truth right now. And it could really put you in a place of separateness. And that's the scariest part, is many of us are separated. The divide is only getting bigger, and it's because we're not in control of the divide. They're moving us without, they're like, if you believe this way, walk this way, you believe this way, but we walk this way by which way we swipe.
So I think from what we're talking about, it's safe to say that, like, everybody's got a little spiritual malady going on, a little spiritual sickness.
For sure.
And those that, like, we're creating spiritual sickness with the technology that we have. Would you agree with that? We're creating spiritual sickness, or it's if we're moving away, it's putting Miracle Grow on the little spiritual sickness. If we're moving
away from the natural connection, like the natural world, like if we're moving away from the gifts, it's like, when I went on a walk this morning in your hometown. I never been here. It's snowing. It was beautiful. There's just birds, and there's just trees that I've never seen. And there's, I just get quiet. I'd be walking, and then I would just stop. And I'd listen for everything. I'd hear birds that I've never heard before. And to be present to that, and to know that it's a gift to be alive. Like, it is a gift. And I only get in that place when I'm connected in that way. Like, I could have listened to a podcast. I could have brought my earbuds. I didn't. Like, when I go walking, I consciously, sometimes I take them, if I'm into a podcast or I'm listening to something I want to see or something like that. Sometimes I'll bring them, or a football game's on or something that I'm addicted to. Like, I'll take it with me. But today it was like consciously like, no earbuds, just walk. And if anything I feel like that's taken us away from that natural connection is going to create a spiritual divide, because it's in that moment. Like, spirituality is living in the moment. It's not here or there, man in the sky, devil below. It could be all those things. But for me, the most natural thing to me is when I feel the most connected to whatever this has been created for us, this garden that we live in, like, is for me to be aware of that and to feel that connection to that.
Well, turning the page to addiction and what we were talking about at the beginning of the show of, Kennedy and that finally someone in leadership is talking about the spiritual component to recovery and wanting to put some energy into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's 43 million Americans, 46 million Americans, something like that now, struggling with substance use, substance abuse, drug addiction, alcoholism. That's a lot of us. And, Kennedy went on to say that, that this return to use over and over again and this relapse and is a large part of a lot of the models out here, and a lot of the people that are struggling can't wrap their head around the spiritual concept of this, the spiritual sickness of what's going on and being connected. Right. And a lot of people are balking at that. Like a whole lot of people just will ride it out to the death, opposed to that there's a spiritual solution.
It's trauma, though. It's trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is, to me, and I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
I feel like if you have an issue with that, because I'll be honest, I had a real issue with spirituality and religion when it came time for me to get sober. I did not believe in God. I came here empty. I believed maybe there was darkness because I had touched that. But I didn't really believe there was this like God that was going to like save me. I didn't. I thought it was BS.
Yeah.
And I also have religious trauma. I had a priest try to kiss me. Like, I grew up seeing hypocrisy and having these experiences that kind of put the nail in the coffin for that for me. It really drove me away from it. And when well-meaning individuals who it really came naturally to would try to, impart that to me as being the answer, I was just like, God, please, that's not it. I've been there, done that. It didn't. I still felt empty. I don't believe that's really what's going to help me. And I know when we start talking about spirituality, automatically the radar and antenna goes up for many individuals that have experienced their own traumatic upbringing through that, either being forced to go and never feeling the connection, or not ever having that connection, never being asked to be part of it and feeling completely like they don't understand it, or like people being harmed as a result of it. Or imagine genocide based on, you grow up in a country that's war-torn over religion. Like, there are so many things. Like, when you open your mouth about that, like, you really, it's a divider because of the preconceived ideas about it. And I believe in my heart, it's just through what we've all been through. Like, if I say the word God, it means a million different things to a million different people.
And the door slammed shut.
Right, for many of them.
The open-mindedness slammed shut.
For many of them, because they think, oh, he's just one of them. It's just, and I don't need to hear this. It's not going to be my path. And I get that. I understand that. I welcome the fact that you don't feel that is going to be a way that's going to work for you, or that is the issue, that you believe you have the power to change it yourself. Like, there are a million different ways to look at this problem. At the end of the day, are you in a ditch or are you not in a ditch? Do you want to get out of this ditch or do you want to stay in it? Like, that's what we have to look at. Like, if this is working for you and you were so happy with it, why are you killing yourself in installments?
Yeah.
Like, why are you on a suicide installment plan?
Yeah.
That's what addiction is.
And
it's
there's
death by installments. And why would I do that if I was really feeling the joy and connectivity of whatever this world has to offer me?
What I was created to feel.
You're right.
Yeah.
And
so those individuals tend to lean heavily on science, primarily on science. But here's some facts, right? I mean, modern neuroscience, trauma research, long-term recovery outcomes all point to the same thing, that there's a spiritual injury with us. And be like, no, it's not. It's in the brain and it's this and that. Well, I've got something right here. It says it all points to disconnection, addiction, right? The results of addiction. Disconnection, loss of meaning, isolation, identity collapse. They're all across the board. Anyone that's struggling with addiction is dealing with that, right? Well, I don't care whether you like the word or not, all of those that I just listed
Mm-hmm.
is a spiritual injury
Right.
that would take a spiritual solution to overcome, would it not?
Right.
So, and that's been largely left out of the treatment world.
Oh, for sure.
For a lot, man.
Yeah.
And like, man, I'm a little leery of all of this money that's going to be handed out, $100 million. I hope there's a lot of oversight. There's always going to be a little leakage, and some wolves are going to get in the pie. You know what I
Right.
mean? They're going to get their little cut of the pie. But man, I've seen the waste. I've seen it. Man, I had a loved one that was in this program. This is the program.
Mm-hmm.
They housed him in a hotel down near the airport,
Right.
down near Richmond Airport.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a trap hotel.
Yeah.
And that's where they were housed.
Right.
And it was called residential treatment.
Right. Which is a
They're just-
misnomer. Yeah.
They're just homed up in a hotel, and then they put them in a van and take them all day into this little office building where they just sat there and just lectured in groups. And really, at the end of and then they would come back, feed us some Chick-fil-A or some McDonald's or something,
Mhm.
and like fast food. That's what they got. And I went there,
Mm-hmm.
and the person at night that was overwatching everything
Mm-hmm.
was the freaking hotel clerk from like Pakistan or something. He didn't know shit from Shinola about what addiction was.
Right.
And people were just coming and going, all government money.
Yeah.
All government money. And if that's happening in that one little spot that I saw, it's
Right.
happening everywhere. So I really hope there's some oversight. But I am enthused,
Yep.
or I am enthusiastic about the idea of our leadership talking about the spiritual solution.
Yep.
And voicing that and putting it out into the
Yep.
public.
Yep.
Because, man, I don't know about anyone else and what everyone else sees, but what I have seen in my career and in my own personal life,
Mhm.
the best outcomes, long-term outcomes of anyone transforming their life has been the result of tapping into some spiritual growth,
Right.
over and over and over again. So that takes a special skill set to be in there and help a guy walk a spiritual journey,
Mm-hmm.
to even enter the path of a spiritual journey.
Right.
And you have to do that. It's one of the toughest jobs out here, I think, is the job that you have at a treatment program of helping guys recover.
Right.
It's not easy, man.
Right.
So
and
what is-
artificial intelligence wants to get in and tell you
Yeah.
how to do it, or
Yeah.
like that. Have you considered AI therapy? Have you considered all this? Like I get emails and stuff like that, and I'm just thinking, Lord, no.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Like this is not the path that I believe is going to really help someone.
Yeah.
But it is. Would I love to not have to do all the hard stuff? Yeah.
I'll let it
Would I
help you
love
with
not
notes.
to have that? Would I love not to have that battle?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. Like, it sounds convenient. But it's not authentic, and it's not really from me, right? It might be created by something else, and then I mimic it or change it or whatever it may be. But for God's sakes, like the personal interaction that has to happen, like somebody has to feel the energy. There is a transference of energy that happens with one person talking to another that cannot happen any other way, and that's why treatment is so powerful.
Can you dig down into that a little bit and help the audience understand, like, what does it take for you? What do you have to do? What type of person does it take with that energy to feel that energy, connect with that energy with a struggling, delusional, lonely, suffering individual and walk that spiritual path with them to even get them on the path? What's it take in an individual?
Well, it takes your utter presence and your deep down soul belief that you're not going to give up. You're taking on a contract with a person that you're saying, I'm going to do everything in my power to help you, whatever that may be, and whatever this power is, help me, help them. And you are going to be as present as you can and really get the whole gist of what's going on. Find out the whole story. Learn everything you can. And that in that way, you start to understand what makes the behaviors the way they are. Because the behaviors are normally going to be poor. They're going to be combative. They're not going to just buy everything you think. Like you're basically normally starting off a relationship, and it's not always confrontational, but there's going to be some, definitely, like, you learn to roll with conflict and you learn to roll with resistance. Like, it is not, I think of the people that come to us, 5% of them may be open to everything. The other 95%, they're only there because this leverages on them or whatever it may be, and we start from there. And I understand and I don't think that is going to ever discount you from not getting better either. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, I don't care how you start with us. I care how you finish. That's what's important. Like, you can come a victim. You better not leave a victim. And so through that process, when you walk with them, they really, if you've done your job and they feel comfortable enough and safe enough, they'll open up to you, truly. And that takes a while. That takes months. You know, it could take years sometimes to get to a point where somebody really trusts you. But this is intensive work. You're at it all the time. This isn't like, 20 minutes here and wait 2 weeks and do another 20 minutes. This is intensive work that you're doing with them. Coming from all facets, from health, wellness, therapy, food, exercise. Like, you're looking at all these pieces, and all these pieces are coming together to kind of form one puzzle. And you're getting little pieces all together. And the more pieces you get, you start to be able to say, okay, this looks like we should move in this direction. How does that work for you? At the same time, it's a collaborative event, but you need to be driving the bus. Mm-hmm. If you let them drive the bus in the beginning, you have to at some point, no matter, therapists, you're taught in school that this is you co-create this. They tell you what you want to do and you roll with whatever they want. Like, when it comes to addiction and life or death, that sounds great. In practice, it's terrible. If you are the person that's guiding them down this path, you've been further down the road, you need to be the one driving the car.
Yeah, definitely.
So
that's a no-brainer.
Yep, and the family needs to be involved, because these are bigger pieces. Like, sometimes a person is all by themselves, but those people that are all by themselves don't normally end up in my treatment center. Normally, the people that end up with me, they have family involvement. They might be at odds or really antagonistic with each other, and that's normally the case. But that's an opportunity, because there has to be growth there. Else, if everybody stays the same, then they're going to continue to go down and over time just separate. So after a while, once that buy-in and that rapport is built, then the pushing, the plateauing, and then the getting behind them and pushing them a little bit further. You can go a little bit further than that. I want to see a little bit more out of you. I realize this is further than you've ever been, but there's still a lot further to go. And I'm still seeing these areas that you are struggling with, or that there is for opportunity for you. You say it however you need to motivate them. Like, that's the part you're a coach. You know each and every person, you know their traumas, you know what is going to motivate them to get in that way. And so through the powers that you have and the information and the knowledge that you have, you try to move them towards a position of growth and discomfort, because in that they're going to continue to challenge, and you're breaking through years of like habitual giving up.
And you have to do this in a very short amount of time.
Right.
I mean, you're a minimum of 90 days.
Right.
But
which is still, it goes in the blink of an eye.
In the big scheme of things, you're talking about 12 weeks, man,
right.
to reverse decades of behaviors and
right.
thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you reduced your life to a day, and you said, treatment is 90 days, what is that, half a second? Half a second of a day?
Yeah.
To do an entire spiritual transformation of soul awakening?
Yeah, so there's not time to waste.
No.
And it's important to not have distractions.
And that's why it needs to be comprehensive and, like, all-encompassing. Like, I wouldn't be doing them any justice if I gave them a soda fountain and a bunch of sweets, like it took them Chick-fil-A every day.
And let them call their families every day to distract themselves from what they're experiencing.
Like, their bodies are going to fall apart, but their mind is getting sharper. But are those chemicals that are in those foods going to make you sharper? Or are they going to also dull you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the same way a phone dulls you. A lot of the things that are convenient, like I said, everything that's convenient pays a price. We pay a price for it. it dulls us from our ability to hear the inner truth. Like the cleaner the food, the cleaner the body, the cleaner everything about it, the more receptive of it, like an antenna I would be to receive a message. So I believe in all those things working. Like in the short amount of time, I need to immerse them in a situation that has the ability to make them feel safe, comfortable, and differently. They have to look at things differently. And a lot of times they can say, oh man, this is more than I bargained for. This is different. I've never done anything like this. And I know, and that's good.
Would you say that the community in your program, or any good program, but let's talk about your program, the community, the clients, would you say that they're just as impactful on a resident that the team is?
Because
just as influential as
we have to think about how big a part they play in it, because this is, for whatever reason, whatever powers that be, that move us in our lives, that put us in a certain position, decided that the position that they were going to be in was now at this place. And the people there around are also like pieces of a puzzle. They might hear a story from somebody that they hate in the community. They're like, I can't stand that guy. And then they hear his story and they realize he was molested by his uncle too.
Yeah.
Huh. Here I am judging him, and he's been through similar pain than me. Or he grew up without nothing. He lost his dad when he was 3. Like, it all starts to make sense. And in some ways they become healed through the healing of other people. Like it is a like spreads like wildfire.
And 100-bed place is difficult for that to happen, is it not?
Well, it's difficult to do the deeper work, because in a 100-bed place, normally a 100-bed place means it's about 30-day length of stay, and your counselors, you probably have a caseload of 15 or 20 guys, and you basically see them when they come and you see them when they go. Yeah. You're planning an aftercare plan for them. It's just you're up against it, and that's where all the convenience stuff, the food that's not healthy, those are normally in those places. It's just simply like, and it's not anything against them. For some people, that's going to be the best they're ever going to get. I went to a place like that. Yeah. I went to a place where there were 64 guys. It was funded by the state. I got a free bed at this place. The food was terrible. It was just like a lunch line. It was just like being in elementary school again. And that's about the quality of what they served.
Right. Beanie weenies.
Right.
And
you knew what it was going to be.
Yeah.
But there were other things that were very bare bones. But that's what was available, and not everybody gets to go to some nice boutique-y place. I get that. I understand that. So if it's mine and it's what I believe in, though, I want to create the best situation that I can, that I believe, and through the people that have worked at our place believe, that has the greatest healing efficiency and effectiveness within this amount of time that we have with them.
So the clock is ticking once the guy walks into the door. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're a minimum of 90 days. You can keep them longer, and a lot of them do stay longer. But the clock is ticking. They're headed towards the doorway. And I've seen it, and we brushed on it a little bit earlier, like they're going to get their phone back. Mm-hmm. The new addiction.
Right.
That everyone can relate to. And they have to have the phone. I mean, it'd be great if they didn't, but... And you said you see them, they immediately start to decline.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're going out smoking crack or doing heroin or anything. I mean, fentanyl or anything like that, but they decline.
Yeah.
How do you counter that? What do you do with this? You let them have the phone while they're still in treatment.
Well,
towards the end,
if they're there longer than 90 days, they get periodic availability to their phone after the first 90 days.
Monitored.
Monitored. Well, they get the habit,
right?
So they take it on their own in some ways for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So if we built up a good enough relationship with them, they'll tell us what they're doing on their phone, and we'll see it. We'll have the ability to actually have some transparency into that relationship, and we'll work on it, because a lot of times what they want to do afterward will change, because all of a sudden they're like, oh, my ex-girlfriend's dating some guy. I got to get back to my hometown and whoop his ass. These things happen, and all of a sudden they were willing to do these other things that they're not willing to do anymore. It's because we've introduced this new world back into them, back into their lives. And so they get pulled, and the attention gets pulled, and their singular focus on staying sober tends to get distracted. And so the greatest thing about it is while we introduce it, while we still have connection with them, and we're still doing therapy with them, and we're still case managing them, and they're still doing their step work and everything else, that is an opportunity for us to really get into it and see where it's going, and also hold them accountable to it. And then they start to say, man, this kind of took me for a ride, because it's like it's reintroduced. They've been separate from it, and they start to see the power of it. If you're never away from it, you're never going to know how trapped you are. Like if you're on the merry-go-round and somebody's spinning it faster and faster, you don't know how to get off of it, but it becomes spinning so fast it feels like it's still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there comes a point in time where you're moving so fast it doesn't even feel like you're moving at all. And that's where we get trapped, because we never get off the merry-go-round. So when you're on it, you don't see it for what it is. But if I take it away for 90 days and I reintroduce it to you, you can see like, wow, this thing's got me. Or this
so
thing's
you
got
can't
me.
prevent the experience, but you can help them process the experience while you got it.
And that's the greatest gift to it. But it does create a situation where we normally have to like get into other pieces or backtrack or rework agreements that have already been made. You know, they start to shatter, and they have to rededicate themselves to pieces because it really shows like, am I really going to do this? Because the world is not going anywhere, right? So it gives us that opportunity, but does it make it easier on us? No, absolutely not.
Because you're basically like, all right, here's your secondary addiction back.
Yep.
You've done all this work, great. You separated from drugs and alcohol. We've done a lot of deep work. Here's your second addiction back.
And to think like on the front end too, like when I think about like a place that only has 30 days, like they're going through a digital detail. Like most of these 30-day places will let you have your phone. That's the other thing too. You're distracted the whole time. But if they do happen to take it from you, there is a separation time where the endorphins are not firing. And I mean, it's like that's going to add to the amount of time it takes before you can even normalize and get real.
Yeah.
So like, there's also a detox there.
Yeah.
That your longer term, that's good, because you can at least kind of weather that storm to where they start to get present. Guys do not know when they first get there, they're terrified to talk to anybody else. And we've been open 11 years, and I've been doing it almost 18 years now. I've been watching communities of men and women, some, do this, and their abilities to communicate have dropped over that last 20 years.
Coming in the door.
The discomfort, the uneasiness, the anxiety. Like nobody was talking about their anxiety 20 years ago.
No.
Now everybody has like my anxiety, like it's like my pet.
They're toting it around in their pocket.
Yeah, my anxiety.
I mean? My anxiety. It's like my son, my anxiety. My wife, my anxiety.
And that's not to say that they're not experiencing that, but the truth of it is it's been created.
Yeah.
Get around other people and you don't have that. It's like, remember when you quit smoking, like, what do I do with my hands? Yeah. When you quit drinking, what do I do with my hands? You take your phone away. What do I do with my hands? I look like an idiot. It's like, imagine if you and me are talking, right? We're standing at the bus stop or something, and you and me are talking, having a conversation. The minute you say, hey, man, I got to go. I'll see you later. We hug each other. You walk off. What's the first thing we do? Pick up the phone. Because I would be mortified to think that somebody would look at me and see me just standing there like an idiot.
I'll do it at restaurants, or if I'm with a networking group, which I haven't done in a long time, but and someone's not talking to me, and instead of me just sitting around there looking around, I get to think, oh shit, people are looking at me wondering why I'm not talking to somebody, and let me check something. Let me seem important. Let me check something as I have my phone right here in my lap while I'm doing this show with you.
Yeah, and I mean, people read newspapers and you did other things back in the day to get over that uneasiness. There's normally, what to do with your hands is not a new thing, but I don't think it's ever been this powerful. And I don't
tell you something about hands. I don't know why this came to me.
Yeah,
I worked on a party bars in Lake Travis, Texas, and like Lake Travis is a crazy lake.
Yeah,
they have some crazy stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
there's some crazy people there.
Yeah, it's a party lake for sure.
I was sober. The crew was sober, and we had a booking one Saturday. It was a nudist colony that we were taking out, and then one they had the roller derby girls on one boat. And they had the nudist colony on the other boat. And I got to choose what boat I went on.
Yeah.
I chose poorly.
Yeah.
I went with the nudist colony.
Yeah.
And talking about what to do with your hands, this dude had a solution. Because when you're naked and you're sitting, I mean, as soon as they dropped the ropes, man,
Yeah.
clothes came off. I mean,
Yeah.
we hadn't even left the dock.
Yeah.
And they wanted us to take our clothes. I was like, I ain't doing it. But anyway, this dude had a pair of Levi's that he had cut everything off of them except the waistband and the pockets, the front pockets. And I'm like, as ridiculous as that looks,
So he can put his hands in his
he's
pockets.
figured it out. He's figured it out. He's got somewhere to put his hands. You know, because what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, he figured it out. He cut everything off except the pockets. He didn't have the back pockets, but he had his front pockets. It was just waistband and pockets. But I don't know. Sorry, I digress. But
Yeah.
Jason, this has been great, man.
Yeah.
This has been great. We talked about a lot of good stuff today. A lot of stuff that's just going on around in this world that people they're aware of.
Yeah.
A lot of them aren't. But it's you do a hell of a job down there in Florida. You've helped family members of mine. I wouldn't hesitate a second to send another family member to you. I trust you fully. I trust your team fully. I mean, you're the real deal. You're the real, like, I say this all the time. I expect you to levitate about any moment, you know, but you're also just a down-to-earth guy, and I'm just grateful to be your friend. And I want to thank you for coming up here again and battling the snow and the ice. And we're going to leave here, go back to Blackstone. And you're staying in the Blackstone Inn, which was the location of the oldest AA conference called the Blackstone Retreat. And it's not there anymore, but a little bit of history there where you're staying.
Yeah.
But we welcome you back anytime, man. We'll see you in a couple of months. Come back and do another episode. Like I said, the audience loves you. And we're going to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, family support group.
Yep.
That's your night. Families love it. So
Thank you, Sam.
appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
That's it for us, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to catch you again next time. Again, this episode was sponsored by Augustine Recovery, St. Augustine, Florida. Men only, minimum of 90 days, trauma, clinical, 12-step completion, family work. Check them out. Y'all be good.